Knudson,
What's up, Tursky?
this is Two Guys Talking Golf.
That's right, baby.
This is a switch up episode.
Yeah, for sure.
We're recording on a Tuesday while I'm on the road. And for the people at home, can you explain why we're recording on a Tuesday?
Well, your boy here is going to not be available on Thursday and Friday, which is Thursday is typically the day we do record, or sometimes Friday, depending on travel schedules, all that. But your boy here has a little golf to play this weekend.
That's tragic.
I know, it's tough. It's tough. The 8th annual Sragwa golf outing up in northern Michigan.
The what's that now?
Yeah, the Sragwa. The SRAGGW is going on, starting a little warm-up round on Thursday afternoon, and then we go 36, 36, 18 on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, getting after it. Yeah, little Ryder Cup style, 16 guys, 8 on 8, and your boy here's a captain, so he would like to get a win, like to get his name on the trophy. So
congratulations on the captaincy.
Thank you.
Do you have the game plan ready? Like, how are you going to set up the foursomes and the pairings and stuff?
So we've already done that. We actually have a draft night where we all meet. Well, most of us meet up. We have a couple guys out of town who fly in for the event. So, but most of the local guys will get together. We'll do a little draft, and then we do the pairings that night as well. And the pairings, for the most part, stay the same, except for Sundays. Sunday's a singles match play, and that one we may make a few changes depending on how guys are playing. But we don't use handicaps. We try to match up things as best we can.
That.
And we just go and play, man. And it's we do modified alternate shot, 2-man shamble, 2-man scramble, 2-man best ball. Sunday singles, so we kind of mix it. Each 9 gets mixed up. We play like 4 or 5 different courses, and it's a good time, man. A lot of golf, but it's a lot of fun.
I think alternate shot is really where you find out like what a golfer's made of, both physically and mentally. I think alternate shot's the most difficult format to play. It's also really fun. It's just like by the end of 18 holes, you either want to kill your partner or you're celebrating and you're like, let's run it back. I love alternate shot.
So we do a modified alternate shot. We don't do it true because, I mean, let's be honest. We've got guys who are 25 handicaps and we got guys who are 7s. So we've got a wide range. So we do modified. So basically, you each get to hit a tee shot and then you can play whatever tee shot, and then alternate shot from there in. So you do both get to hit a tee shot. So, you're not always relying on, the guys at 25 handicap who has to hit it down, a hallway that's, that's 10 yards wide. So we try to make it a little easier to play that way. And it works out really well. So nobody gets absolutely murdered on that. But like you said, it's still alternate shot. I don't care who you're playing with and what your handicap is. You're always super nervous about those shots because the last thing you want to do is hit a bad shot and put somebody in a shitty situation or a crappy situation. Like, you don't want to short side somebody, has to hit it over a bunker, onto a green, no green to work with. You just don't want to put somebody in that spot. Or you don't want to like just top a ball and still leave them like a $170 out. I mean, so there's always a high pressure playing alternate shot.
The worst is when like they hit a great drive. They're finally in position. They're like, all right, yes, go for the stick. And then you just like duck hook it, like fly the coop, put him in the most ridiculous situation that he has to hit a flop shot. And then it's just like you make double. You feel so bad. It's like if I make double on my own ball,
that's fine.
We're cool. Yeah, we're cool.
Hey, if I got to hack it out of some fescue or something, that's my I shouldn't have hit it there. So, but no, and if you've never played northern Michigan courses, a lot of them are kind of cut out of a forest. Like there's not, you can't slice it 2 fairways over, just go get it and hit it back. Like that doesn't work that way. So usually the fairways are fairly generous, but if you don't hit the fairway, you're probably going to be in some trouble looking for a ball in the trees and stuff like that. And it's not fun, but it's a good event. It's fun. We take it a little too seriously for some people. Like we have team shirts on Sunday. We have our own swag and everything that has logos on it and everything that you could buy.
You're like sponsored?
No, I don't think anybody wants to be a part of this mess. But yeah, we've got. I do. I hand stamp little ball markers for everybody, all 16 guys. So we do. Yeah, so we put together. We've got some closer to the pin prizes and some stuff like that. So it's good. It's a whole lot of fun. But there's going to be, if you lose, there's a lot of trash talking for that year. So it's I've bet on both sides. You definitely want to win.
What are you guys playing for? Is there like a big trophy or something?
Yeah, we've got a big trophy, and every year it's got the winners. One of our guys in our thing, his family has it started off as like a trophy plaque, that kind of shop, and now they do all sorts of custom logo stuff, whether it's clothing, all that. So he has the trophy, and it's got every year the winning team, the name, points, all that. So my name's on. This will be my 5th year doing this. I want to say I'm 4-1. I think.
Ooh,
I think I've
not
won.
a bad record.
Yeah, I think I walked out. No, was this my 4? Anyway, I've lost one. I won the first 2, lost one last year. So maybe it's my 4th year or 5th year. Yeah, this is my 5th year. So okay, so I'm 3-1. So yeah, won the first 2, lost, then won last year, and now I'm a captain. This is my 5th year. So yeah.
Well, it sounds like you guys are doing it the right way. For the people listening in, take some notes on how to run like a buddies trip, because it is nice having that organization and the format going in and all that. Like if you're a night before, after a couple beers, and you're still trying to figure out like teams and format, the whole thing just falls apart, and guys like end up not even going to play.
Yeah.
If it's 36 in a day, they're like, nah, I'm just not going to play in the morning. I'll see you guys in the afternoon. Like, there's not even a real game going on. So it's nice having that tucked away in advance, so no one has to like worry about doing all that.
Oh yeah,
so the cat for how to run a buddies trip.
Yeah, the executive board, as we call them, who have been doing it since the beginning, they do a nice job. And yeah, we've had some scares where guys might have had a few too many beverages the day before, and we're rolling up to the tee box with one shoe on and shirt untucked and all that. But we get there and we get it done.
As long as you make it.
That's right.
So I am holding it down at the Wyndham Championship.
Yep.
Greensboro, North Carolina. Now this is a unique show. Actually, we don't do a lot of interviews on this show.
Nope.
It is called Two Guys Talking Golf, to be fair. It's not an interview show, but when the opportunity presents itself and we get to talk to someone that we haven't, or someone really cool in the industry, we like to do an interview every now and then, turn it into Three Guys Talking Golf. So we do have a pretty cool interview at the end of the show.
Yep.
But before that, it is Tuesday. I am at the Wyndham Championship, so we might as well talk a little gear. You know what I'm saying?
And there's a little bit of gear going on, it looks like.
Well, I wasn't sure what we were going to get this week. It's kind of a crapshoot sometimes when I'm flying to an event. I never really know what's going to happen there. I might start hearing some rumors. This guy's switching. He might be testing, but you never quite know what you're going to get. But we got some stuff going on.
Yeah, you do. I like some of the stuff that's going on, too. I think I'm hoping some of these topics pop up. I've been looking through a little the forum photos over on golfwrx.com, and there's some cool stuff.
I think we're just going to start really hot.
All right.
I think we talked about these irons either last episode or 2 episodes ago.
Yep.
The Ping Blueprint S.
Yeah.
Finally got some in-hand photos. So heard early that some guys were doing some testing of these irons, and maybe they might be in a couple people's bags. So I was watching Austin Eckroat. Okay? I was watching him hit some balls, and I start looking at his back cavity, and I'm like, that's gotta be the Blueprint S irons.
Yeah.
So I walk up on him. Well, I let him finish his range session, of course. And then I walk up on him, you know, are those the Blueprint S irons that everyone's talking about? Yes, they are. He just threw them in the bag. He's done some testing. So I got him to talk about feel, look, and performance. Obviously, he can't give up any tech details. I'm not sure he even knows just yet. But I will relay the message as it was relayed to me. Here's what Austin said. I played the Ping S55s before, and then before that, I was playing the Blueprint blades. So he has a little experience in this realm of Ping irons. He said the Blueprint S is a nice mix between those. The look of the Blueprint and then the feel and the flight and all of the spin numbers are exactly like my S55s, or at least really close. It seemed like they were a little bit longer, but nothing inconsistent, just very consistent numbers overall. I like the look a little bit better than the S55s.
Wow.
But the numbers and spin rates were very consistent. So he said that twice, so they must be coming out in a really tight window.
Yeah.
They're slightly smaller than the S55s. And he said, I don't know what the plan is, like with Ping, he meant. But they could definitely do combo sets with the Blueprint blades. They're a forged head, whereas the S55 is cast. So they're a little softer off the face than the S55s, but I actually prefer that. They're the best looking irons I've seen.
Wow.
I mean,
wow.
For Ping iron users, like, this is exactly what you wanted to hear. Is it not? It's like you want them to perform like the S55s, but you want them to be forged like a Blueprint, have that kind of Blueprint shaping, but a little extra forgiveness. And like he said, that sets them up perfectly to do combo sets. You go Blueprint blades, pitching wedge to 7 or wherever you want to cut it off, and add in 2, 3, 4 Ping Blueprint S irons. Like
that. It definitely is, and it's interesting that the consistent spin numbers and stuff like that, consistent spin, launch, all those numbers, because I know that we're starting to hear that a lot. We heard it a ton in the wood releases this year and even last year, trying to get that spin number and those launch numbers to be consistent, no matter if you hit a dead center or not. And now we're seeing that carry over into irons, and I think these engineers, these club companies, are starting to realize that. Consistent strikes just overall lead to better shots, and better shots lead to better scores, all that. And so we're starting to hear these same things that we heard in woods now trickle over into the irons. But the Blueprint S, I'm gonna slightly disagree with Austin and say they are not the best Ping iron I've ever seen. I don't necessarily agree with that. I am super intrigued by them. It's interesting that you got great pictures of the 3-iron, 7-iron, and pitching wedge.
Mm-hmm. Where did you find those? If people are interested in seeing the photos for themselves.
Well, there's two. I think if there's two things. I think one, you want to look at the front page of golfwrx.com, because there was a great article written by our very own Andrew Tursky here, and then also you were kind enough to go into the forums section and dump a bunch of photos of the irons as well. So forums.golfwrx.com, and you can check them out. You can also
head over to Instagram.com and give @golfwrx a follow, and you might see some there as well.
That's true. But it's interesting because the 3-iron has what you've got to believe is some little slot right behind the face, little piece of probably rubber, some dampening device in there. So they're moving some weight around. They may be thinning out the face to the touch on the 3-iron to make it a little faster, a little longer, maybe launch a little higher. I don't see it in the 7-iron, and it's definitely not in the pitching wedge. So somewhere between 3 and 7, those little cavities go away. Whether it's 5, 6, something like that. So definitely something where they're adding either a little speed, a little flexibility in the long irons, making the short irons super soft, super consistent, kind of scoring clubs. So very interesting. I love the look of the 7. I love the look of the pitching wedge. I feel like that 3-iron, and I know it's a Ping thing. And I've never been a monster Ping design lover. I've loved the performance of their stuff. I've never truly been in love with a lot of the looks. But man, that 3-iron's got a ton of offset.
I feel like you're making that apparent.
Yeah, that 3-iron's just got, a ton of offset. And it's also interesting because I guess you had him in your hand, and he said, a little bit bigger than the Blueprint, but kind of S55 size. I didn't have a ton of experience with the S55s. I felt like they were a little bit smaller blade though. Like they're not blueprint small, but a smaller blade. These look bigger just from the photos, but you had them in hand. Are they pretty compact?
I would say they look longer. Like the blade lengths look a little bit longer than the S55s. I always thought the S55s, I don't know. I guess I'd have to go back and look at them from address again, but I kind of put them in the like AP2 bucket where they're a little like rounded. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Kind of like shorter and more compact with like almost a little higher face. These look more modern with that long blade length. That offset in the 3-iron doesn't like completely surprise me, because if you kind of go along the lines of what Austin was saying, the 3-iron is going to be something that you combo up. With something that you want a little bit more forgiveness. Obviously 3-iron is going to be more difficult to turn over within the set. So it's like, if I'm going with just a 3-iron and the 3-iron is there basically as a driving iron for me within the set, maybe that's not like the worst thing ever to have a little help on getting that launch up. But yeah, like when I look at the 7-iron, that's pretty much what I want to see from a 7-iron.
Love it.
I'm just coming off of the PXG 0311Ps, and they look a lot like that from address, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. And then, like, I mean, the wedge looks great. It's, got zero offset. I love kind of the sole design. Looks like it's got kind of like a killed leading edge, little bevel in that leading edge, especially in like the 7 and the pitching wedge. So that you should get.
I'm happy you noticed that. I noticed that as well. Yeah.
Get some good turf interaction. The top lines are pretty thin, and again, it looks like almost like they kind of bevel the back end a little bit of that top line to make it even look a little bit smaller than it is. So, I mean, overall, I think the dimensions and stuff look great. I feel like even the 3-iron has. I'm trying to think. I mean, the I230s feel like they maybe even have a little less offset than these, but and he's saying they feel great. That's awesome, because I remember the original Answer forged. They made 2 versions, and those were never the softest forged irons out there. Like they had a little click, they're a little firm. So if guys are really liking the feel of these, and then comparing them to Blueprint or being even a little softer, that bodes really well for the feel and sound that these are going to have when you actually get to hit them.
I think him being like, from Ping's perspective, I think him being a former S55 iron user and like making an easy transition into these is really good news, because you see a lot in tour bags S55 still. I don't know, they've probably been trying to figure out how to get cavity backs, like tour cavity backs, in these guys' bags to replace the S55s. And the fact he made such a smooth transition into them and said he loves the feel and it reminds him of the performance and the look, I think that's great news. And I think a lot of just everyday golfers are probably in the same boat. Like, S55 has a cult-like following, and if this is the iron that is maybe going to finally replace those, I think that's great news. And it seems like an iron that could. Obviously, a lot of tech going on, like geometrically, screw out on the toe, like you said, a little something in the back cavity of the long irons. I think Ping does a really good job at hiding tech like that.
Yeah.
They make compact irons that still come with it, with the forgiveness. So this wasn't necessarily like their tour launch, but it kind of felt that way. It just seemed like the energy was around these irons. Guys wanted to try them. Guys switching into full sets. So definitely something to look out for there. I have no information when it comes to retail, design, tech, any of that information. So right now it's just fun looking at the photos and speculating. And that's exactly what we did. And I'm happy with that.
And with Ping, like they don't go, like you said, they hide the tech and there's a lot of tech in them, but they typically, if this was, this is kind of a new iron, because usually, like, if you went from I210 to I230, like Ping knows that, the I210, everybody loved it because of this, and they keep those things the same, and then they slightly modify. So, to see guys switching over to these isn't shocking, because Ping guys typically, when something new comes out, they move into it, because it isn't so far drastically different than what they had that it's a pretty easy transition. So I wouldn't be shocked if, as the year goes on, maybe not right now, because as we get into like, the FedEx Cup playoffs and stuff like that, guys aren't going to put brand new sets of irons in for that. But I think right after that ends, we're probably going to see a lot more of these in bags come, September. Or probably September when the FedEx Cup is done.
I have one more topic on irons real quick. And this is not something that you're even going to see in the forums or on Instagram yet, maybe by the time this podcast drops. But I spotted Webb Simpson with a full bag of Titleist T100s, the new ones.
The new ones, yeah.
Yeah. So blades are out of his bag. He's not combo setting or anything like that, at least today, as of Tuesday. That's what he had in the bag. I thought that was a pretty interesting switch. I did not get a chance to talk to him yet. That's my Wednesday job. So unfortunately, people who are listening to the show are going to have to check back on golfwrx.com. I promise I will talk to him, and I promise after I talk to him, I will relay the message of why he made that switch. But the new T100s are hot.
Yeah.
They had a really hot start at the Memorial. It's kind of just been going from there, really. And I know we can't talk about them yet, but we both did our fittings, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to just get into it real quick? Kind of your first takeaways with, I'm sure you hit the T100s at least, and then kind of the rest of the models. What do you think about the new T Series lineup? No tech yet. Yet.
Technically, this doesn't go out till Friday, so technically we can talk about any tech we want because this is going out Friday. So, I did. I got fit the week of the Rocket Mortgage. I went to Carl's Golfland here, got fit, and you're right. I hit all of them. I hit the T100, I hit the 100, 150, 200, and 350, and the utilities. I hit them all, and the 100s. I played the 2019 100s. I played the 2021 100s, and then got to hit the new ones. And I do have to say, the new one for me a little bit just launched a little bit higher. Seemed a little bit softer. Really liked the feel. Thought it was really, really soft. I think it now plays in the same arena as other forged, high-end forged players' cavities. Like, you want to throw Mizuno in there, and some of these other, really soft brands. I think the T100 now is right in that arena. They're super soft.
I think Mizuno's a really good comparison with those T100s.
Yeah, I think
you're spot on.
The
I
feel
talked to a couple tour players the week they came out, and they were saying how they felt almost like firmer. I disagree with that.
I do too.
I think they're softer, and we both played last year's T100s.
Yep.
But didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're. That's what I think too. I think when you strike them dead center, they're extremely soft. And then the mishits, I think carry pretty much just like the previous ones. They carry pretty well. But I liked the T100s. But I kind of went into it knowing I probably wasn't going to fit in that arena. It's a little demanding for my game, and moved into the T150s, and that's kind of the bread and butter. But the 100s were really solid. I'm not shocked that they're in a ton of bags out on tour. Like the last ones, they still have a bunch of tungsten, stuff like that you don't see. Like Ping, they hide that stuff. It looks just like a traditional blade, and they're more forgiving than they look in that small package.
Like you said, they look like a traditional blade.
Yep.
And I think that's why I'm going away from the 100 model.
Yeah.
They're starting to just look small to me, man.
They're
and
tiny.
I'm not saying they're not unforgiving. They are forgiving. I look at my dispersion. I look at my ball speed. Very consistent across the board when I hit the T100s. But then I moved on to the 150s. And that's when everything changed. Like, I think I hit 2 shots. And right after those 2 shots, I may have even said out loud to the fitter. I was like, these are the ones.
Yeah.
The way they look at a dress, just that slightly thicker top line, slightly bigger shape. It's not more offset. They basically matched the offset of the 100s, but the 150s just give you that little extra.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll say they're slightly longer. I think maybe I was like 2 to 3 yards longer with the 150s compared to the 100s, but like my confidence went way up.
Well,
And then I went back to the 100s just to try again. It's like they just look a little bit small. I just don't have that same confidence over the ball back when I was playing blades to be able to comfortably hit those now. But if you are a guy who wants that blade look, that's what they look like.
yeah,
Except
they do.
They have, dual tungsten weights in the back and a cavity back construction with, one of the most forgiving torque cavity heads you can have, really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if you want to dump it in a bucket that's going to be a consistent bucket for you to gap your irons and know exactly where the ball is going, like the 100s are perfectly fine for you.
Yeah.
Great iron. I just think these 150s nail it.
Yep. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, for the guy, I was talking to the guys at Titleist, and if you listen to my Club Junkie show, which was yesterday, I had Josh Talgi and Marnie Inez on, and we were talking about all the irons. And I was kind of like with you. I hit the 100s, and I was like, wow, there's some good shots there. Like when I hit a good, I was like, man, that's really good. And then I hit the 150s. And the best part is like my fitter, the guy Brett, he wasn't even giving me numbers. He was just handing me stuff. I was like, all right, we're just hitting stuff. And he handed me the 150 with a steel fiber 110 in it. And like same with you, it was like 2 balls in. I was like, oh man, that's like 2 really good shots. Like they're higher. They feel like they're just going forever or whatever. And he's like, well, what do you want to carry that 7-iron? I was like, dude, I want to carry it 160. And he was like, all those there, 162, 161, 160. He's like, everything you're hitting there carrying. He's like, when you missed it slightly on the 100s, he's like, that's when you saw like the 158s, 157s, 150, whatever. He's like, you weren't getting it to 160. He's like, everything there. Like you said, it's not a huge number. It's not insane yards on good strikes. It's like 3 to 4 for me, but they were consistently in that 160 and slightly above range. And like you said, to me, I told them, I was like, it's the perfect kind of cheater iron. You can be a 10 handicap, look down on that club and say, yeah, this is kind of blade-ish. This is a player's club. There's not offset. It's got a pretty thin top line. But then also in the back of your mind, when I snipe that bad boy off the toe, it's not going to kill me. I'm not going to be sitting in that. I'm not going to be sitting in that bunker. I'm probably going to carry it, and I'll be maybe on the fringe or right in front. But I'm going to get away with some bad swings with these and be okay. And yeah, as soon as I hit those, I was like, same thing. I was like, yeah, this is where I want to be. And then I went 4-5 iron in the T200, and it actually worked out better because I hit the 5 iron or whatever in the 150, and I hit it okay. But the 200 just added that little bit of ball speed to keep the gapping there, and the same with the 4. And they were I'm T200 4-5 150 the rest of the way.
So we're going up kind of the ladder, trying to figure out like where the break would be. Because I was really happy with the 150s. I wanted to go 150 all the way up through. I felt like no reason not to. I love the way they look. The performance is great, so let's figure out the top end of the set. Got all the way up into the 4-iron. Super comfortable. Ball speeds were 5 miles per hour separated with each club, which is what you want.
Yep.
Then I started hitting the 3, started getting a little squirrely. That's where the fun came in. Hitting those T200 long irons was so much fun.
Dude, they're easy.
The step up they took from last year's T200 to this year's T200, I think, is the biggest move in this family. In terms of sound, feel, something about the offset, the way it looks, it just sets up a lot cleaner for me. I ended up going with a 2-iron with a Memphis Black HB 10TX.
It's a telephone pole.
I was absolutely ripping this thing and getting the height too. I mean, the T200 is so good at helping out with launch and forgiveness. I felt like I could dump the 2-iron in a bucket. Like,
dude, that's
how much
crazy.
Control I felt like I had over it. And I was playing the T200 4-iron last year or 2 years ago. And it always just felt a little bit clicky, a little bit hollow. Like when you touch the back of it in the back cavity, it just had like something was off just about the material and the way it was attached, or, something was just off about the T200.
Yeah.
There's nothing off about this one.
No.
Whatever issues they had, they completely fixed, I think.
I agree. The sound and feel is definitely improved, and honestly, like the shaping is so much better. I felt like you noticed the longer heel to toe blade length in the 200 last year's. You noticed it more this year. I don't know if they hide it a little better, but they massage that shaping a little bit where it doesn't look stretched out. It just looks like a way an iron should be. It's very proportionate, and it does it. They sound and feel way better. I'll tell you what, I went out and played like 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, super early in the morning, just myself. I ended up getting paired up with a couple guys, but on the 10th hole, I hit my drive, hit a good drive. I was on the right side of it was a little dog leg, but I'm on the right side of the fairway, and I just come over the top and just slap this 5-iron right off the toe. And I was like, this is dead. It's going to be in the rough on the left, and I'm going to have 20 yards in. I was like 180 out. And I hit that shot, and it was kind of like when I hit the ping eye crossover and you and I played, and I hit that toey on 18 and it rolled up onto the green. Same thing with this thing. Rolls up front of the green. And I'm just like, or just maybe it's on the fringe, but I was like, that ball shouldn't be there. Like, that ball should be 20 yards short and on the left, way left, and it's like right there in front. It was amazing. It was such a bad swing, and that ball ended up being a little, I think I putted from where it was. It was just like, it was kind of stupid. But those things are so good. And then the other one that I hit, I don't know if you hit it too, but did you hit the U505?
I did.
Utility?
I did. I hit the 1-iron. It was so much fun hitting it.
I didn't hit that one because we got to the end. I was getting kind of tired, and the guy hands it to me. And I'm like, you know what? This isn't my game. Like, I don't hit, I think it was a 3-iron. I'm like, I don't hit a 3-iron. I can't hit a 3-iron. I don't hit it high enough, whatever. And he's like, just hit it. And the first couple swings, I was shocked of how high that ball went and how soft it would have landed. Because I wanted nothing to do with it. I just figured it was not part of my game. And it was, dude, stupid easy to hit. It launched way in the air, and it kind of didn't go left. For guys who play hybrids and hate that hybrids go left, it pretty much goes dead straight. Even for me, faded a little bit. But I was shocked at how easy that was to hit.
I felt the same way. I wasn't duck hooking it, and it kind of looks like a type of iron that I would duck hook. I mean, it's got that wider sole. You can still see it's a very clean top line, almost like a thin top line, but then you can kind of see the thickness in the back. So when I look down at it, I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is a hybrid. I know what's going to happen. But no, it doesn't perform that way at all. Obviously, you have to get the right shaft in it and make sure your build is right. But I agree with you. Super easy to launch. It's got that wide sole, which doesn't always necessarily line up with my game, I guess. I do prefer a thinner sole for sure. Yeah. I don't want to get caught on the back of it because I end up just skyrocketing it so high. But yeah, those are really good. It was just really fun hitting the 1-iron too. Seeing a 1 on the sole, but then you see the window that it comes out at.
Yeah, it's nuts.
This is cool. So what are you going to do between that and the crossover, though?
I don't know. I've got to hit them both. I think right now, since I have more time with it, I think the crossover stays in the bag right now. So I'll go crossover in the 4, 5-iron I-200, 6 through pitch in the 150. And I'll just kind of keep that for right now. But I tell you what, man, that 200 4-iron's got a shot. I've hit some really good balls with it, especially off the tee. I haven't hit a lot off the turf with it yet, but off the tee, it's really good. It may be just a hair shorter than the crossover, but it's really solid. So that one's there. But for this weekend, the crossover's coming down. I'm just more comfortable with it.
Okay, fair enough. You're doing a little crossover with brands within your iron set.
That's true. So
don't often see that.
So you did the 2-iron in the I-200 utility build with the Fuji HB Black 10TX.
Yep.
But what did you? So then you went 3-iron through wedge in the 150?
4-iron through wedge.
Okay. And then what
the
shot?
way you worked it out, I wasn't hitting the 3-iron bad, but you could tell that there just wasn't enough separation there. I was carrying it 7 yards farther than my 4-iron.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, I want to figure out this gap. This is the gap I'm struggling the most with. The 4-iron, and now I'm playing a 3-wood instead of the mini driver. So I go from 230 all the way up to 275, 280. And I wanted something like directly in the middle. And the 2-iron was it was sitting right in that pocket every time. And I was getting enough height on it where I do feel like I can hit it off the turf. I haven't played around with it yet. I just did my fitting on Friday or Thursday, and I didn't play this weekend. So that'll be the real test to see, like, are these irons as good as I think they are? Are they replacing what I have currently in my bag? My feeling right now is yes, because I went through the whole fitting. I hit my gamers. I hit the irons I'm getting fit into. And it's like, you know, when you go to a fitter and it's like they're trying to get you into something and they like manipulate the numbers and, you know, it starts like messing with your brain. You're like, all right, yeah, I do have to buy these. They are better. Then you take them back and they're not better. That's not what was going on. Like, I'm looking at it objectively. We know we're in the gear business, man. Like, I've hit every single iron that's come out in the last like 10 years. Like, I know what I'm looking at, and these irons were going in a bucket. I was getting a little bit more height, better dispersion. My former gamers, I didn't realize how low the spin was and how low the window was. And I know we had talked about that as well. Like, I was trying to flight it a little bit lower, but the 7-iron was spinning like 5,500.
Oh, that's low.
So it's
that's
just
super
like,
low.
You can't play with that on your miss hits. Not that I've been playing bad. I have been hitting that low cut, but just seeing like the dispersion circles, how tight they really were with the 150s. My feeling is that that's the direction I'm going to go in, but we'll see. I'll report back on that.
I know. I was shocked after I recorded my show with the Titleist guys. They let me in. I know, they're like, oh yeah, like, we got Tursky, and they told me a little bit about it. So I was
they got me.
I was kind of shocked. But the other thing too is, going from 2 to 4-iron, I think those utility builds are a little bit weak. So I think I think that technically kind of fits in. It flows in well with that. Instead of playing a 3-iron, having a 2-iron there, it probably flows in pretty well for the gapping and all that. But mine are a little bit battle tested. I've played, I think, 36 holes with them so far. I think I played 2 9s and an 18 with them. I played 2 18s. So I might have played 54 with them already, but either way, I played some good, and I played some good rounds. I shot, even par in my league with them. I've hit some good iron shots.
Even?
Like 3 weeks ago, yeah.
Okay, nice round.
I think that was the first round I had him in the bag. I went out and played really well. So, right now they're going as the starters. I mean, I bring 2 full bags of clubs, so there's going to be a whole second set in case something acts up. But the 150s and the 200 are in the bag for my golf weekend.
That's great.
Yeah.
I know we want to get to this interview. Before I forget, I had one more little note from the Wyndham Championship. As soon as I stepped out on the range this morning, the first person I see, Jimmy Walker. What's he testing? TaylorMade M2 2016. Let's go, Jimmy.
I think he was probably just watching the Modern Classics on Golf WRX YouTube, and that's why he put it in the bag. That's my theory.
That would be so funny. But yeah, so he's testing a Callaway Paradigm shafted up with an Autoflex.
Yep.
And he's hitting against a TaylorMade M2 2016 with what looked like just like a regular Ventus Blue, maybe a Ventus Blue TR. I didn't get an up-close look at the shaft, but I feel like just 2 completely different builds.
Yeah.
And I was watching some of the ball flights. He hits that Autoflex shaft so high and it'll turn over. And then with the M2, he's hitting a high cut. So I don't know what he's going to do. And I did talk to him briefly. I don't think he knows what he's going to do yet. I just wanted to bring the old M2 2016 out, do a little testing and see where it's at. But it's cool. He's a guy that does do that. He goes from one range to the other and everything in between. I love that he's so willing to test everything and test what he wants. Like, he doesn't care what people think.
No.
If he wants to play the Autoflex, playing the Autoflex. He wants to go back to the Modern Classic. M2 2016, that's what he's going to do. Like, he's just an experimenter, and I think that's what on this show we encourage so much. Just hit everything, and then you can really figure out what you like and what's best for you.
Yeah, I think it is. From what I look at it, it looks like just a standard Ventus Blue. I don't think it's the TR. Okay. I can't see the little gold box on it, and it doesn't look like the handle section gets darker. It looks like it's all one color. So I think it's the the standard Ventus Blue. But what a combination! Taking a head from 2016, putting a shaft that's 5 years newer in it, and going out and playing it. And honestly, I bet that combo is pretty good. I mean,
it kind of made me want to try it for real.
Yeah, I mean, I did a little experiment, and it's still in here. I should pull it out again. I did an old Callaway FT Tour, the one that had the hosel. It was the FT. You remember FT9 Tour Authentic, which is the one that was on tour. Everybody loved it back in like 2004.
I think that's the one that Zalatoris always says he loved.
I've got but the FT Tour was basically the retail version, even though mine's a tour issue head. But I bought it on the BST and Golf WRX for like $50 off some guy. So
you're so
it's a 10.5 head.
You always tell me, you're like, it won't go in my bag unless it's tour issue.
No,
I say all the time.
No way.
I'm just kidding.
So I put a Ventus Blue. I had an extra Ventus Blue laying around, and I put it in there. And I'll tell you what, like, that will never ever be considered a forgiving head. But man, when you hit it in the center, dude, that thing went. Modern shaft, old head, that thing, it still moved when you got it in the center. So I'm not good enough to hit that club all the time in the center, but a guy like Jimmy Walker probably can see some pretty good results.
Before we move into this interview, I just wanted to let you know that I'll probably be hiring you as a club builder for some services. I did come into a completely fresh, new 983K Titleist driver from back in the day, but it's pure, fresh, never been shafted up. So I need to put something in there and do a little testing with it. We'll have to figure something out, but your services are going to be needed.
Man, it's funny because, man, the last time I did a bore-through head was probably, oh, God, I'm trying to think. It was probably like an FT3 or something like that back in the day. It was probably the last time I ever did a bore-through head. But you sent me the picture of that, and I was just like, where did you see that? Like, that is insane. But, yeah, that thing is a cool head, still in the plastic, everything. Just a real gem. The other thing we'll have to do is we're going to have to measure because the parallel tip sections on shafts has gotten way shorter, like 3 inches. So we're really going to have to see how that fits in. You're probably not going to be able to tip anything. Whatever it is going to go straight in. It's not going to be tips. So whatever you figure out, there's no adjusting for tipping, I doubt. But
I think we should have a conversation. We'll figure out something.
Yeah,
that's right for me. You should maybe do a little like bore through shaft up video tutorial or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be fun. A fun little experiment, trip down memory lane. Nothing's more nostalgic to me than the 983K.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool head.
But that's all I have from the Wyndham Championship. Is there anything that you saw that you think I missed? I do still have a day left here. So if you hear anything, let me know.
Yeah, but I haven't heard anything. The only thing that kind of jumped out to me in terms of the photos, it was pretty cool seeing what is it? I'm gonna butcher his name, and I apologize for that. But Alex, is it Gogert, who's Van Rooyen's caddy?
It's a valiant effort.
Yeah, I mean, totally a terrible, and I apologize. But he had a pretty cool setup in his bag. All Callaway stuff. But that Toulon putter he had was just sweet. He had like kind of a gold finish, long neck Toulon Chicago. And the Chicago, I love the Chicago head, but at retail came with a double bend shaft. So, and it wasn't, I don't think it was face balance, but it was close. It had a little bit of toe hang. But he's got one, and the Chicago's kind of a Newport 2, wider flange, wider body. And he's got one done in this like sweet, like gold kind of bronzy finish with a super long neck, a plumber neck on it, but super tall. And just a cool looking putter. I love the finish. It looks sweet, but I just thought that looked really cool, and just a cool piece. Something you just don't see every day.
if you want to check those photos out, head over to the Golf WRX forums.
That's right.
Well, Knudson, I think that brings us to our interview. Would you like to set the people up, let them know what you did here?
Yeah, I got a call. Was it today? I think it was today. So again, we're recording this on Tuesday. From one of our boys, and said, "Hey, would you like to get like 15, 20 minutes with Lee Hodges, who just won the 3M?"
No big deal.
No big deal. Just a guy in his first PGA Tour winning by 5 strokes, hitting some just unbelievable shots. And I said, heck yeah, I would love to talk to that guy. So yeah, got to jump on, and we kind of went through his bag, did a little what's in the bag, talked about all the clubs in his bag. He just switched into the brand new, or not just, he switched at the Memorial, I guess, into the brand new T100 long irons in his set. But he kind of went down, kind of talked about his bag and kind of some of the stuff in it, and yeah, it was fun. He was a super nice guy, really, really just down to earth, just a kind of a regular, one of those guys that you'd love to run into in a bar and just have a beer with, and hear some stories and all that. So it was fun. It was a good time, and yeah, like I said, we got like 15 minutes with him, and he was super cool. So if you want to know more about Lee's bag, keep listening, and it's pretty cool.
Finally, someone that's good at golf on the show.
That's right.
Enjoy the interview.
All right, everybody. Hey, we've got probably the happiest man on the planet right now. First time PGA Tour winner, Lee Hodges. Thanks for taking the time, man. Congrats on the win. How good are you feeling right now?
Yeah, man, this is great. Yeah, couldn't be happier. But thanks for having me on. Yeah, this is going to be great.
Yeah, super excited. It was awesome to watch. I mean, to see a win like you had there this weekend. I mean, wire to wire, playing some great golf, hitting some phenomenal shots. I mean, I think those 2 3-woods you said were probably the best 2 3-wood shots you've ever hit in your life. But how does it feel to be a PGA Tour winner now? I mean, after the journey you've had in golf, your whole life for the most part, now you're a winner. You are there. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal, but it didn't just happen in a week's time. It's 20 years of hard work, and just putting a great team around me that have really worked hard. I mean, they come to work every day ready to get after it with me and make me better. So yeah, it was a team win for sure, but very, very self-rewarding at the same time.
I bet, man. I bet. That's got to be so cool. So, Golf WRX, we love diving in, what's in the bags. We've got your what's in the bag when you won, of course. Our boy Greg and Andrew are always out there on tour. So I'm going to start at the top, man, playing the TSR2. I actually play the TSR2 as well. Little different shaft choice, and I play about 10 degree instead of an 8. But what do you love about the TSR2? Because a lot of tour, we see a lot of TSR3.
Yeah.
2 is in there a good amount, but what did you like about, or how did you gravitate towards the 2 as opposed to, like, say, the 3 or 4 or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, my whole life, I've always been a pretty good driver of the ball. And the Titleist driver has been no different. I mean, I've hit it so good. I mean, I've hit a lot of fairways, and when I was getting fit, they had the 3 and the 2, and to be honest, there wasn't a ton. I mean, for me, I didn't have that big a difference. Like, they were kind of the same thing, and the TSR2 for me just had a little bit higher ball speed, so I went with it. Like, the dispersion was kind of the same, and it just had a little bit faster, and I was like, well, I'd be a fool not to play the faster one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was kind of more of a spin thing. Like, I just couldn't spin the 3 enough. Like, it was just too low. And then, playing kind of a little bit of an older shaft, kind of a little unknown boy there with the Speeder Evo 6. Is that something you played before and just kind of you carried it over? Because it's kind of a mid-low launch, mid-low spin thing, but Ventus has kind of wiped it off the map, it seems like. But is that a shaft you kind of played before and carried over, or was it new when you got the TSR2?
No, I just kept putting it in drivers. I don't know what it is about it. I just hit it. I hit it nice. So, it comes out of a perfect window for me. It falls a little to the right every single time, but I can also turn it over. So it's a pretty multi-use shaft, and it's been great. And I've absolutely loved having it. I hope it never breaks.
I'm pretty sure there's probably a couple laying around. You might be able to replace it.
That's right.
And then that 3-wood, man, TSR3, playing a UST Link M40X Blue. But that 3-wood, again, you hit some amazing shots with that thing. What is it about that 3-wood? Is it like a shape thing or comfort? Like, what is it that makes it so comfortable? You hit such amazing shots with it.
Yeah, the Titleist 3-wood has always been my go-to. They're just so classic look from the top, and they're so workable in my opinion. Like I feel like some 3-woods on the market are just real hot and go a long way, but I can butter that 3-wood down and hit it like a hybrid distance, or I can rip it. So it's just such a multi-use club, and works both ways. And man, yeah, she for sure showed off on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the amazing. I mean, you're able to really get the thing up in the air too, because I mean, those things landed soft, had just very little release. Are you kind of like a high ball hitter anyway with a fairway, or is that something that you just basically played that shot knowing, hey, I can't let this thing roll out and roll to the back or off the back of the green?
Yeah, I would say that I am a pretty high ball hitter. I'm not super high. Early in my amateur career, I was almost too low of a hitter. Like when I got to Alabama, my coach was like, "We got to get the ball up a little bit." But I think I kind of used the mantra like, the quicker it gets on the ground, the less time it has to get offline. So, but he was like, you're not going to be able to play some championship golf if you can't get it up in the air. And he was totally right. Like, I mean, if you watch the best players in the world, those guys ship it over the moon, and it's unbelievable to watch. But yeah, I would say I'm a mid to high ball hitter, and that 3-wood's no different. I can throw it straight up and still carry it pretty far if I have to, or I can kind of get it down. It's really is just a multi-use club.
Yeah, and you were moving some pretty high ball speed there with that 3-wood. I think, what is it, like kind of the last day, I think one of the tee shots you hit it there was like you were like well in the 170s ball speed with a 3-wood. So yeah. I mean, you move it pretty good with that thing.
Yeah, no doubt. It's fast. Yeah, I mean, I've been working a lot on hitting the ball further, just trying to get my body a little bit better. But then as well, the equipment's just gotten so much better. Like Titleist equipment has gotten just so good, and you can really get some high ball speeds with those things and get the ball out there pretty far.
Yeah, and now with the 3-wood and even your 3 or your hybrid, which is like a 4 hybrid, but both TSR 3s. Do you mess around like at all with like weights and hosel settings or stuff like that, or is it you one of those guys like once you're dialed in, like it's done, it's over, I don't even think about it, it's just in the bag? Like,
no doubt.
You a tinkerer?
No, I'm not a tinkerer. I think if you ask, I would actually love to get one of the Titleist guys' opinions on that. Like they always, anytime I see them. And I ask them something, and I get done with them. They're like, "All right, see you in a couple months." And they give me a hard time about I don't use them enough. But no, I mean, once I get it like I like it, you're gonna have a hard time getting it into something else. I believe in that, and I believe in being good at what you have. And the tinkers just never worked for me. It's never been my thing.
Yeah, so you pretty much go to the truck, get some new grips, and that's about it, huh? Nothing else.
And honestly, if you saw my driver grip right now, you'd be like, you didn't even go get grips.
Yeah, someone tells me you're not changing it this week, that's for sure. After last week's performance, it's staying the way it is.
That's right.
And then, you go to a kind of a 4 hybrid. Have you kind of been a hybrid? I know hybrids on tour are kind of hit and miss, kind of depends on the player. I know hybrids always, even at the amateur level, it's, can you stop it from going left or whatever? Right. But you play in that 4 hybrid. So what for you is, why do you go hybrid instead of maybe like a utility iron or a 3-iron or something like that?
Right, yeah. So for me, like, I feel like you're either trying to hit it off the tee or trying to hit it into the green. And not many times do I hit hybrid off the tee like a ton, and if I do, my hybrid I have is nice. Like I can hit it great off the tee, but for me it's more of an into the green club, and it just helps me launch the ball higher with more spin, and it's been great. I've absolutely loved that hybrid. I've hit some unbelievable shots with it, and so I honestly feel that way with a 3-wood too. Like I feel like you're either building it for off the tee or into the green with the woods. So both of my 3-wood is kind of, I would say, the more multi-use, but the hybrid I've built more to hit into the greens.
Yeah. And then we get into irons. And with the iron, did you just put, like, you play a little combo set, you go T100 in the long irons, and then down to the 620 CBs and the short irons. Did you just put the new ones in the bag last week, or the new T100s in the bag, or are you still playing the old generation?
No, I play the new ones. I put them in Memorial.
Okay.
That was they're so great. Like Titleist, the JJ, and those guys were like, "Hey, we're bringing the new irons out. If you want to come hit them, we'd love for you to be out there." And I did a little video with them, which was cool. And I mean, they're same spin numbers, same launch, same carry distances. And I was getting about 7 or 8 to 9 more feet of height. So again, you'd be a fool not to play them. Like I put them in the bag that week and finished 12th place. So it was, yeah. I mean, I believe in, like, some guys are like, oh, I'll change at the end of the year, but if it's better, you're a fool not to use it.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, I mean, the T100 is the previous gen to this one. I mean, if it's just something where peak height's really the only thing changing,
Right. Yeah.
you're not really having to adjust a whole lot other than you got to look and be like, okay, like it's going to go a little higher, but I got to trust it's going whatever distance it needs to go.
No doubt. Yeah, and for me, that was huge. Like, the greens on the PGA Tour are so firm sometimes that, being able to stop it with launch angle instead of spin has been huge, and it's opened up a couple more pins for me, which has, made a couple more birdies here and there.
And is that why you go the combo set from the 620s? Like, instead of playing the 620 6 through 4, is that why you go into the T100 originally?
Right, yeah. I could just launch them up in the air a little bit more, and they were a little more forgiving, and I'm not somebody that's like, oh, I need a blade. Like, no. I'll hit the most forgiving golf club you give me, because that means I'm going to make a better score. So they've been fantastic, and they've been a great decision since I put them in.
Yeah, and is that something you kind of see at, like, the amateur level? Like, as you go play with other amateurs, you see guys playing, like, same 620, CBs or MBs, and you're just looking like, man, you're like a 10 handicap. Like, not,
no doubt.
like, you should maybe move up.
I used to be the same way. Like, I had a pair of, I actually had a pair of Titleist blades. Why my dad ever let me hit those is beyond me. But, I mean, blades are great, and a lot of players hit blades, but, you give me whatever's going to make the best score, and I'll play with it. I don't care if it's a broom handle. I'll hit it. It's if it makes me make a birdie, I'm in.
Yep. And then you get into wedges, and I mean, pretty standard, nothing too crazy. You do play like the really low bounce 60. Are you one of those guys who just you like having that ability to kind of open it up, play a bunch of different shots, or is it you're just kind of a shallow, you deliver it shallow and just pick it, or why'd you go so low bounce in the 60?
Yeah, so I have kind of a 10, I think it's 10 degree bounce on my 55, and I use my 55 a ton. But, just being able to have the ability with the 60, if it's a real tight lie or you really got to do something with it, it's been great to have that. Like, there's not many times where there's very few shots that I can't hit with my 55 when I have to have a 60. And if you've hit that shot, you've probably put it in a bad spot. So you're probably just trying to get it out of there, to be honest. But, yeah, no, it's been great, and it's really helped me off some tight lies because, obviously we play the tightest lies you can get most of the time. And, having that ability to just kind of zip it up under there has been really, really nice.
Yeah, and then I guess the putter is somewhat new, right? Like, you just put a brand new Golo, a Golo 6 in the bag, just not real recent, but like it's somewhat new? Yeah,
it's somewhat new. It's been in there, I couldn't tell you. It feels like forever for me, but I don't honestly know the number, but... I've played the Golo style a little bit for quite a while. Like on the Corn Ferry, I had a center shafted Golo that I used for a long, long time that I won with, and when I won my Corn Ferry event in school, I used the same Golo I have now, just with a little different neck in college. And then I went to a different Scotty for a little bit, a little square-headed one. But the Golos always look good to my eye, to be honest. And this one's been great. I've absolutely loved this one. The milling on it's been great, and it's on. With putting for me, it's an eye thing. Whatever you look down on and think you're going to make putts with, you probably have a good chance.
Yeah. What made you switch from center shaft back to something like heel shafted? Was it just like, were you changing anything in your stroke, or was it just a kind of a feel thing? Or because center shafts kind of they're I wouldn't say rare, but you don't see as nearly as many of them as you do other heel shafts, slant necks, things like that.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, I worked with my coach Marcus Potter, and we had the center shaft, and I putted with center shaft for a long time, and I putted well with it. But he was like, I had trouble with speed a little bit, and he was like, well, what if we try this other Golo out just for some speed purposes? And it was immediate how much better my speed got, even from like 20 feet. Just being able to just see the speed of the ball going into the hole, not three putting, but just seeing the speed of the ball going in the hole. That's been huge for us, and it's just a change we made just based off of a feel that we thought we needed, and it's been fantastic.
That's awesome. And how nice is it to be like, I know everybody in the amateur ranks, you see all the Circle Ts, all the custom stuff that Scotty does on tour. Yeah. How cool is it to be able to have like a little bit of input and say, you know what, hey, I'd like to try this different sight line, or, hey, I wouldn't mind like a little shallower milling on the face of this or whatever. Is that kind of cool, or is it just a tool to you? Like, it doesn't matter.
Well, it's super cool. Like, Scott was just such an iconic brand, and having those guys, ask you what you want it's pretty surreal. Like, it's really, really cool. And they couldn't be nicer. Brad and Deepaw and those guys, like, they help us out so much. And, all they want us to make putts, and that's their job, is to help us make putts. And they're really good at what they do, and they've helped me a ton.
That's awesome, man. So, hey, what is I'm going to, because I know we're kind of running out of time, what is, out of your whole bag, favorite club and why?
It's for sure my driver. That's the best club in my bag, to be honest. Me and my Kay talk about it all the time. If we're ever between driver and three-wood, we just hit the driver, because I'm a pretty good driver of the ball. My numbers are pretty good. I hit it in the middle a lot. And it's been fun the last couple of years to be hitting it further, which has been really fun to see. And it's helped to a lot of good scores.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time, man. This has been awesome, and appreciate you going through your bag. It's always fun to kind of hear, what guys at your level think of kind of the gear they play.
No worries, man. I appreciate you having me on. This is fun.
All right, thanks.